Can I also say how satisfying it's been to watch the game of basketball without all those bullshit calls? I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to curse in interviews, right? Can I say how satisfying it is to watch the game without all those terrible calls? That, guys cheating the game and grabbing guys and getting a foul. I've been really enjoying watching basketball this year. I kind of had stopped watching the NBA a bit because it was just too much flailing and flopping and guys cheating the game and get free throws. So I thought I think that's been great, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that because I think that's been fantastic. And I think when you look at it, people are starting to show some of the calls where like, no, that is a foul. And the reality is I think it was so far left. And now the refs are adjusting to not making those calls. And maybe you do a couple that should be a foul. But that's all about figuring it out, right? A happy medium. But I think they've been incredible. And the game is flowing better. And I think you're seeing much better basketball. You're not seeing 147 to 139. I think I saw the Celtics in Washington with the double overtime today, and the final score was maybe 104 to 102 or something like that. We went to overtime the other day. The final and, close to the NBA on that. It's been great to see, especially coming from people where they weren't calling that, and you kind of have an appreciation for that to, see while I was over there, the league say, oh, man, we're changing that, and actually stick to it and be doing that. It's incredible. So kudos to the league and the referees. It's been great basketball to watch, and I think it's great for our game.
It definitely shows up watching, observing it. Can you feel it on the court? Can you sense it?
You can 100% feel it because you don't have guys just doing the garbage to try to draw fouls anymore. I think this game was turning into who can draw the most fouls, and nobody want to watch that, and you definitely don't want to play in the game like that. So you can feel the difference out there for sure. It's just more pure basketball, and that's great for our game.
Go ahead.
Oh, so kind of, since we didn't talk to you the other night, that when Morant came up at midcourt and you, how did that play happen? I mean, was it just an unfortunate collision there?
Oh, well, I was going to foul them to stop their break.
Okay.
Anyway, and I just felt his face, like his face hit my head.
Oh, it did?
And,
okay.
Yeah. And, Josh's a pretty smart guy, so just try to hold him up and not let him go down because his knees was kind of behind him. So he go back and who knows what happened. So
okay, thank you.
Just try to hold him up, but he fast, super fast.
Yeah. Thanks for rewinding to that. Sorry, Nick.
It's all good. Following up on the foul stuff, what, as a fan of the game, as somebody who's lived it, because it's been going on now for years, what do you think finally triggered the rule change?
I think there's been a lot. It kind of went left. It's been going on for a while, but every year it starts to gradually get worse and worse. And last year, I think it really reared its ugly head. You started to see playoff games altered by guys. Excuse me. You started to see playoff games altered by guys cheating the game. And that's garbage. So I think watching that changed it. I think also watching the Olympics helped spearhead it as well.
When you saw the way the game has been officiated up to this year, for you as a guy who focuses on defense a lot, does it get in your head that certain things you can't do because of these things? I mean, how does it play games with your head?
Oh, you did, because you can't. I mean, listen, guys are talented enough. If you can't put a hand on a guy and you're going to get hooked and get a foul call, it's just impossible. Like, guys are fast, strong, athletic, crafty. You have to be able to touch someone a little bit, and so as a defender, it feels great to know that you're kind of getting back to a level playing field.
Monty kind of touched on what I was going to ask you. I mean, are you calmer out there because you can play your style, maybe knowing that things have evened out a little bit?
I mean, it helps,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's really made me more calm. I think just being aware and conscious of my emotions has made me more calm.
What do you think is next after this rule shift, which clearly is helping the game get smoother? What would you like to see change the most next on the list?
Being able to slap the ball off the rim. I thought that was great. And I've almost done it like 3 or 4 times this year. So I think that'll add to the game. So let's push for that one next.
Draymond, do you ever think back to James Harden going 24 for 24 from the line one game? Just an absurd amount of how some players have made that a part of their scoring.
Oh, for sure. James is one of the best at it. Driving in and drawing fouls on 3-point line. He's one of the best at it. So I definitely remember those games of him going 24 for 24 from the free throw line. And, when, like I said, when you got a guy that shifty and the moment you touch them, they can hook and you call for a foul, it's impossible to guard. So, but, I mean, you started to see a lot of guys master it, but they all learned from James for sure because he was the master before anybody else ever picked it up. So, definitely.
Let's do a couple on Zoom real quick. Anthony Slater.
Yeah, along these same lines, a lot of people think what should be next.
Hang on here, Anthony. We're trying to get it off of mute. Okay, go ahead now.
Yeah, along these same lines, what a lot of people think should be next to improve flow is the take foul in transition, eliminating that Euro foul to stop fast breaks. It's something you do use. You used tonight. You mentioned the Morant play. What do you think about that? Should that be legislated out?
I'm all for it. I thought it was great in the Olympics as well. So I'm all for it. But until they change it, I'm going to use it for sure. But if they do change it, you got no complaints from me.
One last one, Mark.
He said that the game is in a better place without all the BS calls anymore. How do you think that rule change and the adaptation to it have changed the game early on here?
It's obviously way better to watch. There's less of that, those egregious plays where there's only one option was to go out of your way to draw a foul. I used to like them when it worked out for you. Kind of funny though, for me in Portland, the first preseason game, I had that one where I tried to draw a foul, and you just got rid of that impulse, figure out what other options you have. I've been watching around the league, and for the most part, I'd say about 9 out of 10 of the calls that used to go the other way are not for good reason. There's probably some that are still in that gray area where they'll get more consistent, but it's great for the game. I know a lot of fans are loving it. The defensive-minded players are loving it. For us to like to put the ball in the basket and focus on that, I've tried to, my entire career, so I don't think it's a huge adjustment, but I like it.
What's the next thing that you'd like to see shifted rule-wise, once this seems to be fixed?
Put some more thought to that. Nothing came to mind.
Steph, as you talk about getting rid of that impulse to draw a foul, do you feel like that's been easier for you because you have so many tools in your toolbox?
1,000%. There's the only one that's tough is when you get a pump fake and you don't know if they're jumping into you. You can kind of be patient, wait for that contact, or if it's to the left or right, and you kind of go out of your way to draw that foul, especially in the perimeter. So. The rest of it, I usually look for the rim, and if a foul comes, that'd be great. But even off ball, those haven't changed much because those are still freedom movement type stuff. And, even in the playoffs, that'll hopefully be pretty consistent. But that's really the only adjustment, and I kind of shook it pretty quick.
Any side eyes to the officials? Like, what are they gonna, or how has the communication been out there? Any smiles and laughs over the changes?
A lot of them. I had about I keep going back to that first Portland game, preseason games. I had probably a raw 20-minute conversation back and forth in between dead balls because I was still a little confused on the gray area of if they jumping into and you're drawing contact, where's that line at? And I forget who the ref was. He explained it pretty well. I hadn't gone to see it, the replay, and then after I did, I could understand what he was saying. In the moment, I'm still a little hot, that was a foul.